Yes, my people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another AFTV Live. We'll be here giving you today's transfer news and updates and all the news around Arsenal. Some news recently just broke is the headline of today, and it's around Youri Tielemans. I'm joined with Turkish. How are you?
All good, man.
Let me catch up with you because obviously the people haven't seen you. I was with James yesterday. Well, obviously they've seen you on the channel, but they haven't seen you since the Jubilee weekend. And I just want to get just quickly before we go into the news, just Jubilee.
So I hope everyone that thinks I'm negative has enjoyed the past 3-4 days of positivity. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there hasn't been no Turkish on the channel. So as it's deemed, there's been no negativity. But how was your Jubilee weekend? Did you enjoy the break?
Jubilee weekend. You think I care about Jubilee weekend?
It started already. Couple seconds
I
in.
care about Jubilee weekend, my guy. I had a wedding on Friday to go to. Nice. I had a wedding on Monday to go to. Family. Nice.
Well, you weren't queuing outside Buckingham Palace?
No. You missed me with that shit.
All right, no, wicked. It's good to catch up. I know you enjoyed the break. I did see some stories on social media.
Wasn't you dancing outside Buckingham Palace?
No, don't you dare.
I'm sure I saw a video.
Don't you dare.
Tag me in that video.
Bro, people, I was not. I was enjoying my break. Trust me. I was about though. Don't get twisted. I was active. I was in London, but I wasn't nowhere near Buckingham Palace and going into the Jubilee stuff.
So you was dancing somewhere else. Cool, I'll get you.
I'll take that. Fuck it, I probably was somewhere. But yeah, right, let's get into today's news. Youri Tielemans, this was today's headline. It kind of broke actually in the last hour or so. He did an interview. I haven't got the exact place of where he spoke out, but we have it from the source of a UK source, and also what's the
Charles Watts?
Charles Watts tweeted it as well. But let me just start with the news. It is you have to listen to other options is kind of the headline. Youri Tielemans admits for the first time that he could leave Leicester this summer, revealing that a move away is not out of question amid our interest from Arsenal. Now I'm going to read the exact quotes here. Asked if he could leave, Tielemans said that it's not out of question. I feel very good at Leicester. I was welcomed with open arms from day one. I give everything for the club until the last day. But of course, you have to listen to other opportunities. You have to look at your career, and sometimes you have to make choices. Maybe one will come my way. Now, we do know that one has already come his way. I think Arsenal, it's very clear that we're interested in him. I don't believe this is fans pushing this interest. I know Arsenal were linked to him kind of in January and kept a close eye on him, and I believe they are very, very interested and it seemed like he's, I don't want to say priority too much, so I don't know if he's the main priority because we hear Arsenal's main priority changes almost every week, but he's definitely a player that Arsenal are looking to bring in, and it does seem like he's the main guy, Turkish. I know he said something about he wanted Champions League football.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, amen to that. Who doesn't want Champions League football? But it seems like Youri Tielemans is the one, even without Champions League football, that we are kind of the front runners for him. Thoughts on it, really? Because yes, I had James here, and he was happy with Tielemans and Zinchenko. He thought it'd be good business from Arsenal. We'll get into with you guys as well in the comments. What does it mean for other players at Arsenal, with likes of Saka, Partey, El Neni? I also want to ask people, who do you think the first signing through the door will be at Arsenal? But let's just get your thoughts quickly on Tielemans. Good signing, good business for Arsenal if they get it done?
Yeah, I mean, the price is being tied at around 40 million, I've been reading.
Yeah.
If he's available for that, listen, Tielemans hasn't had the best of seasons. I've looked at him this season at times. It just doesn't look like his heart has been at Leicester this season. Maybe he wanted to move away last summer. Maybe he was promised, he'll get his move this season, or this summer. But there was times last season where he'd lose the ball, he wouldn't really try and get it back. He just didn't have that drive that if I don't see at Arsenal, it will be a big problem. However, it was only last season that I think was a poor season for Tielemans. Since he's come in, I think he's shown his quality. I think he's shown what he can add to Arsenal. He's good on the ball. He's good off the ball too, which is something that we don't have in our midfield.
In what sense? Good off the ball is in he reads the game well, breaks up play.
You know when Xhaka got praise for being moved up a bit ahead of Partey? A lot of that praise was down to him picking up good spaces.
Good point.
Making himself available. It wasn't necessarily what he was doing on the ball, because in that position you need someone a bit more mobile, flexible, someone that can run with the ball a bit better. And Tielemans has all of that. He knows where to pick up spaces. He always wants the ball. He doesn't shy away from it. Like I said, there's a little doubt about his motivation there at Leicester. Hopefully his move to the next club, he looks at himself and realizes that moments like that at the bigger clubs, fans are not going to stand for it. Hopefully he can eliminate that. But aside from that doubt, I think all the attributes he possesses are will be greatly appreciated if Arsenal bring him in.
What's
I
he-
like Tielemans.
What's he better at? Is he better defensively or offensively for you?
Offensively for me.
Yeah,
Offensively for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's better. So because you spoke about Xhaka there, you spoke about, you're right, when he was deployed, and me and James did discuss this as well yesterday, about he was more advanced to the left side, and that's when a lot of the fan base were very much on Xhaka's side. Like, he's played well, he's really good when he's in the side. Tielemans, what does it mean for Xhaka if we do sign Tielemans? Does Xhaka become... This is where the debate kind of happens. It'd be interesting to hear everyone else's thoughts. Is what happens with Xhaka? Because Elneny's obviously signed a new deal. He's going to be staying. And I think Elneny, we know his role. He's comfortable being third or fourth choice. Can come in when needed. We've got a lot of games next season. It's probably going to be used. Partey, everyone assumes he's the priority to be playing. Like, if he's fit, he plays. So then it kind of comes down to, if Tielemans comes in, is it a Tielemans and Partey partnership that we want to see? Lokonga, I don't really put in the mix right now. I still think he's going to be used again, maybe even fourth choice next season. Does Xhaka have to be? Would he be that bench guy? Would he have to understand that he's third choice and sit down? And because you know how much Arteta loves him, but with the interview of him saying, I want to be at this club until we achieve something great. It's a bit of a, is he going to be here? Is he going to stay at Arsenal next season? Will he be featured enough to his liking?
Up until that interview, I thought we would probably move on from Xhaka this summer.
So did I.
But then the interview came and he said what he said, which makes me doubt that. In all honesty, we need an upgrade on him. Will he be happy coming off the bench? I don't see why not. Because if he, looks himself in the mirror and asks, ask the questions he needs to ask himself, does he really, deserve the starting berth at Arsenal? I don't think so.
A lot of fans will say he does after last season, though. They'll say,
but a lot of fans say a lot of things. I tend to, it's only my opinion I give. A lot of fans like to say, "Oh, you don't speak for." I don't speak for anyone else but myself.
Correct. Yeah, facts.
So fans that do think that he brings something to the team, fans that do think he's had a great season, it is what it is. You can think that over there. I'm tired arguing about it. I believe what I believe, and when we do upgrade on him, maybe then those fans will realise what I've been saying all these years in terms of we need someone with more facets to their game than Granit Xhaka.
So is Tielemans that Turkish, or are you saying if we get one signing in the midfield, then it's likely Xhaka will stay? But if we get two, I personally don't think if we get two midfielders, and I suppose two sixes, 1 6, 1 8, or two in that defensive midfield kind of role. I don't see Xhaka staying, but I don't know. I haven't heard Xhaka being linked to any other clubs away. And obviously, after that interview, I was the same. When I heard him speak, I was like, he's going to be here for a long time, the way Arteta backs him. But I just think if you get two signings in that midfield, Xhaka must sit there as a player and think, I'm not really going to see too much football this season. How do I feel about that? I'm not going to say he's in his prime. Actually... when you're being Granit Xhaka, you're not going to want to be sitting on the bench and you're captain for your country, and I know he believes, he's very confident in his own ability. I know he'll believe he should be playing. So it'd be interesting to see if we sign two midfielders, what happens with Granit Xhaka, because I know he's going to be here. I know that this Tielemans, I think this is a very strong link. I really do believe that he will probably come through the door very soon. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens with Granit Xhaka.
With Tielemans, he's a very different player to Granit Xhaka.
He is.
That's what people need to understand.
He's quite versatile, Tielemans, actually. He can play in quite
Xhaka's
many
best
roles.
performances, if you can call it that, came when he was moved up the pitch a little bit, and Partey was there to cover essentially. And you've got to ask yourself, at 29, I think Xhaka's 29, so he's roughly 28, 29, 30, around that age.
Yeah.
At that age, if you're being moved positionally, it doesn't really bode well, in my opinion, because at that age, you should be certified in what you do. A lot of my criticism about Granit Xhaka over the years was like, what does he actually do?
Yeah.
And people have tried to tell me and whatnot, but I think Arteta moving him from where people have tried to tell me he's best at to another position kind of tells us that reality is we need an upgrade, because he is not a number 8. He, even though he got moved up a bit and he'd done well, he'd done better in that role, other players can do a hell of a lot better than what we saw, and we're going to need that. How often did we, cry out in terms of creativity, in terms of transition throughout the season? And don't get me wrong, other players, that Partey's injuries are not good enough either. There's a question to be, a debate to be had there.
100%.
So I'm not just, talking about Granit Xhaka and skate. The middle of the park is a big issue. Lokonga's come in. A lot of people say he's not ready, but it's mad to be hearing that, considering he's come in on high praise from certain individuals. Yep. He's come in to essentially replace Guendouzi, who seemed to be ready for first team football. So I'm not hearing that. The midfield needs sorting, whether it's Partey's injuries, whether it's an upgrade on Granit Xhaka, whether it's protecting Sambi Lokonga. We need an upgrade because all I see in our midfield now is El Nene 5th choice.
Yep.
Who are 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'd probably say Lokonga 4th.
Okay.
You buy 2 midfielders, and in my opinion, you let Xhaka go.
Okay. That's what I wanted to kind of get. That's what I kind of wanted to get to. That's what I wanted to get to. I know. Sorry, I didn't want to even mean for this directional conversation to go over to Granit Xhaka, but I just wanted to see what it meant for the other midfielders if Tielemans comes in, or if an additional midfielder comes into that spot. I want to ask you, Turkish, as well. Is anyone watching? Is anyone worried about us missing out on Tielemans? Because he did say he wanted Champions League football, like many other players would want, but he said that Arsenal seem to be, the favourites to sign Tielemans. If any other club jumps into this conversation, anyone worried that we might lose out on him? I mean, if Tottenham sniff around all the players we've been sniffing around of recent and seem like that seems like the desirable club to go to, considering Conte, they got Champions League football. Are you worried about losing out on Tielemans? And if we lose out on Tielemans, I'm just trying to think what level of player can we?
Every summer I'm worried.
Can we get serious?
How can you not be worried as an Arsenal fan every summer? Because how many summers have we had where we've gone into the season confident, and we've gone into the season knowing we got the business we need to get done?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Never.
Been a while. I can't even.
Never. So, in all honesty, I'm always worried in the summer. Am I worried about Tielemans' eyes being turned? No, not necessarily, because, Tielemans is not that superstar that if he doesn't come to us, there isn't, someone else we can go get. I just think that Tielemans, he's used to the Premier League, he's at a good price. If we can get it done, get it done. But it's about being proactive. The longer you leave these things, the more other clubs have a chance to take a look and show some interest,
Yeah.
I mean, look, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 7 days ago, we was talking about potentially Gnabry, and a lot of people dismissed that because of no Champions League, but at that time it didn't seem like there was much interest in Gnabry from across Europe. All of a sudden, a week later, you're hearing Liverpool, maybe Real Madrid and whatnot. So the longer you leave these things to go, the more risk there is to it, especially at a good price. It's hard to find good value on the market. So with Tielemans, yes, he wanted Champions League football. It doesn't seem like a Champions League club has been after him, so what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to come to an Arsenal and bring us Champions League.
I was going to say, which is, in my opinion, that's kind of a positive in the sense that, he's going to want it. He's in a project with Arteta that all of us as fans want it, and I'm sure the players as well. That's something that's quite attractive in the sense, okay, you may not get it, but we can definitely look to build to get there next season. Again, a lot of pressure on next season, but there's always pressure on Arsenal's season. So I don't think it's too much of a negative that he's gone out and said that every club, every player wants Champions League football. But like we just said,
it's different to Lacazette saying it. Lacazette saying it after failing at
that was cheeky
for 5 years,
that's cheeky,
and
that's
he's
cheeky.
saying Champions League, and then he ends up at Lyon. Tielemans is going into his prime. He's done a bit of dirt in the league. He's got some value there. He's an interesting player. So it comes across very different from him.
And Leicester seem a bit of, I know we're not far off it, we've finished 5th, but Leicester seem further off Champions League football than we. I know that can be debated.
I'd be hesitant to say that, because every season seems to be different in this Premier League recently. Leicester had a poor season last year. We had a poor season before that. Who knows who's going to have a poor season next season?
But I suppose, I'm just thinking, trying to put myself in Tielemans' shoes, and is it attractive? Arsenal's always going to be attractive in some sense.
Tielemans is not that guy to be, to turn his nose up at Arsenal.
Oh yeah, true.
Very true. And when you look at the clubs that don't have Champions League football in the Premier League and across Europe, I think Arsenal's near the top of the list of attractive clubs you'd want to come to.
You say that, but people turn their nose up at Arsenal. I've seen players. Do you know what? I've seen players. I think Bruno Guimaraes kind of did it. Lacazette, we spoke about just a second ago. He kind of, I know he was with us, but he kind of turned his nose up and saying, how cheeky.
Bruno would have come to us if we really tried. Bruno Guimaraes would be an Arsenal player. The reason he's not an Arsenal player is because we didn't really, I don't believe he was in for him.
Yeah, I know you.
Arteta said, I'd done what I was allowed to do.
Yeah, I know. So, you believe it's all smoke.
I don't, if we wanted him, he would have come to us ahead of Newcastle. Lacazette, I don't look at him taking a swipe at the club there. I just look at him and say, look in the mirror, mate. It's the wrong thing to be saying with a few games left of the season when you, especially this season, have been part of the problem in terms of goal scoring. It was cheeky. But you're right, It
does hurt me when I see players, though, have this. I'm going to be honest, they turn their nose up at Arsenal nowadays because of, I think, where we are. I know we're in a rebuilding process and things seem like they have improved, but I don't like when players have that sort of yeah, that sort of the comments towards Arsenal, it burns me. I can't lie.
When your owners allow the club to decline as much as it has at Arsenal, this is part and parcel of what, the results of that. Man United is the same. Growing up, I never would have thought players would have turned their nose up at Man United.
Yeah, it's never mad to think.
But now that's what they're doing, because it's similar there. The owners, the decline, where they are, it's all messy. With social media now, if a player makes a wrong move, they could have 6 great seasons, but if they have one poor season after making a move, they're labelled a failure, or they can't live up to expectation. A lot of pressure's put on them. So when you're coming to a club like Arsenal and United, where it's volatile to say the least, it's difficult for them players to really be confident about coming in and hitting the ground running and improving on their own CV portfolio, bringing us to the next level. There's a lot of pressure at clubs like Arsenal and United, because a lot of the fans have seen success.
That's why.
And it's so far gone now, nearly 10 years for United, nearly 20 years for Arsenal in terms of league wins, that for players, they know coming in, if they don't hit the ground running, if they don't, live up to expectations, the fans are already pissed off through no fault of that new player. But the fans
is it fair? I was about to say, my next question was, is that fair though? But
it's not really, because look, with Mesut Ozil, for example, for years I said this club hasn't done right by Mesut Ozil. They haven't built around him properly. They just bought him, and then they bought Sanchez because the domino effect, he became available. But did they really build a side, or did they just buy who they could buy? Similar with Pogba at United. Yeah. He comes in, he's labelled a flop, but I agree, he has been a flop, but there's also variables around Mesut Ozil not working out at Arsenal, Paul Pogba not working out at Man United.
There's bare players at United.
That's just two big examples. There's a lot of players. So I think we are in a better place in terms of players looking at us as a project than we was last season. That's for sure. Is that enough of a progress? No, but I guess if last year, who did we get over the line last year? We didn't really. He got Odegaard in terms of profile.
And he got I know it wasn't last year. He got Partey the year before. So and that was with no Champions League football. So
money talks, and that's what we're gonna have to start flexing.
That's why I get so frustrated when the Kroenkes don't invest, or we get told things in January and we don't know what's really true, because if it was really the case, you'd put money in and we probably would have secured top 4. Now listen, we spent a lot of time on Youri Tielemans, and we'll be getting more from Turkish and yourself. I'm going to go to the comments because they've been superb. I can see loads of comments flying in. Big up the super chats as well. I'm going to go through them all now. Please hit a like as well on the video. If you're joining in, just hit a like. It's free. It costs nothing.
How many
There's 2,000.
Come on, people. 1,000 likes, people. You know what it is already. Let's get up to
and there's like 5 super chats. Let me just run through. So, I'm just going to go through some of the comments. There was one here. Let me scroll up. So Oliver H says, Marquinhos will be our first signing. Now this refers back to who do you think will be the first sign to come through the door at Arsenal? I'm going to ask that question. I want to see in the comments who you think is going to be the first to come through the door. James predicts it's going to be Gabriel Jesus. As there was conversations yesterday about him, signing on. Actually, no, it's today. Is it Tuesday? It's today. Sorry, yesterday was the international game. It was today. So, who do you think will be the first signs to come through the door this summer? Quinton says, Belgian Arsenal fan here. Tielemans is a beast. Followed him since his Anderlecht time, and he has so much more to offer than he showed. Will be a huge player for us. Let's hope so. Because
it has the potential to be. That's what I'm saying. At that price,
25 years old. Yeah, powerful, good on the ball, drives the ball. I think there's a comment here which I do question. Rowan says we need players with legs in our midfield. Now, does Tielemans have the legs? I've seen him in some games where I feel like he's not massively always sharp. Like yes, he presses and finds good spaces, but
is it legs or heart with him?
Oh, and there's another I think there's another one question here about that. Bear with me. Tielemans won't come.
I understand what you're saying about the legs.
The legs. Albie Thomas says, if Tielemans doesn't show passion, maybe a waste of money. So I guess that kind of links
into the heart part of it. But look, listen, Tielemans is someone that's he's striving for something better. He's got ambition there. Yes, he said he wants Champions League football. Yes, I understand that at his age. But, at 25 years of age, if you come to Arsenal Football Club with a 5-year contract, then this is the club you're going to have to achieve that at. So that heart, that passion, that desire really needs to come in with you. I can understand that Leicester, he might just feel a bit, I've been here a bit too long. We've missed out on top 4 twice in the last couple of months of the season. Is it going to happen? And then they have the season they've just had now. I can understand where he's coming from. But, yeah.
Do you know what, though? Hot take, yeah? I actually think this heart thing is I question it. It's not even that hard. The Belgian players, like Lokonga, very relaxed, very chilled. It comes across like he hasn't got that passion, hasn't got that heart. But I think that's their culture. Same with Tielemans. Same with even you look at Virgil at times. You look at they're very just chilled and calm. Like I see, they're very composed, very calm and composed on the ball, very mature. I think that could be misconstrued with. He hasn't got passion, he doesn't show heart, he doesn't run around the field like a maniac. And you know when you see Brazilians and that when they run after the ball and they press intensely, there's never that. They're very just cultured players. I think that's where it kind of comes down to.
I don't necessarily mean the whole running about thing. I don't necessarily mean that. I just mean, being up for the challenge, know.
But does that not come under just them being very just chilled in their play or not?
Who's the best Belgian player?
De Bruyne.
And what's the difference between De Bruyne and the rest of the players? You said his heart, his passion, his desire
to be the best. If I'm honest, to be the best. Okay, yeah, to be the best. But I don't see him being that passion merchant.
Yeah, he's not running around. He's not chasing.
He's playing. He plays at his own tempo.
He does, but he's got that in him. In a 50-50, he's not. He's not irking away. He's not.
In a 50, I don't really see De Bruyne.
Listen, 50-50s now are different to 50-50s 10 years ago. 50-50s sound like it's one of those challenges where two people are coming in. Bang.
Yeah, that's not happening anymore.
50-50s are more like you're tussling. De Bruyne's on that. De Bruyne's on that. Whereas someone like an Eden Hazard maybe hasn't got that extra.
I hear that. Do you know? I don't see De Bruyne really get to that. The only time I've seen him is recently. I saw a video of him playing after a match. I think it was after his international game. He just seemed annoyed. That's the only time I kind of seen him show that sort of I don't care.
But that's the thing. Him being annoyed means he cares.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? He cares. He cares. How many times you see him coming off the pitch steaming from the head? His just face is red. He's just.
I hear it. Man's talking about like cartoons to steam at the head.
Some of our players over here, they're still coming there. Their hair's still slick to the side. It's still mad. The tan is still just perfect.
The beard's all good. Yeah.
The brand's coming off looking like a mess.
Oh, you sound like you're adding some players there. You know what I mean? But no, I hear it. I just personally think the Belgium. I don't know what it's I think it's just the composure and the culture of their style of player, style of football. Sorry, it's just very relaxed, very in control. But I do get
wanting to be the best is such an underrated attribute or characteristic. It's such an underrated characteristic. Wanting to be the best, not wanting to be the richest, not wanting to be at the biggest club. Wanting to be the best
you can be.
That's how you get a Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
That's how you get a Tiger Woods. That's how you get. A Roger Federer.
Obsessed with being the best. There will be.
That's how you get a Messi, a Ronaldo. They're obsessed with it all.
Right, let me get to the super chats because there is a lot. Again, thank you everyone that's joining this and sending super chats. So Sabin Sovre says we'll only get Hickey and Marquinhos this window. Maybe I can never say this guy's name. Skamaka. That's all. No midfielder. No Jesus. No Gnabry. We need to cope.
Hope not, because that'd be terrible. But we'll see.
That won't be a good window. Hickey's very young. He would have really come in as for me a number 2 in the full-back position. Marquinhos, I wouldn't be happy with, and Skamaka. No, I want Gnabry. I'm gonna be honest. I think it changes the whole window dynamic if Gnabry walks through the door, and I don't think it's an impossible buy.
We don't want Gnabry.
Huh?
We don't want Gnabry. Bro, if we wanted Gnabry, that's the first thing you go and do this summer. You bid.
33 million is what they want. That's it. They want 33 million.
I can only go by what we know. And if we haven't bid, then we don't want him because he's a player that said he'd come back to us.
He's gettable, man.
He's a player in his prime. And when I mean prime, world-class prime.
He's in his prime.
I'm not saying we could get him because we're in Europa League and he's someone that deserves, the best of the best at this moment in time. But there's nothing wrong with testing the waters. There's nothing wrong with, not doing this whole Vlahovic stuff where it's a smokescreen. Actually going to make a bid.
Yeah.
And if it gets rejected, okay, cool. Or if he rejects the club, okay, cool. You tried. Just show a bit of ambition here and there.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that the club actually put an offer for Gnabry.
Because then what can we turn around and say about the Kroenkes then? I can't turn around and say,
what you
about
doing?
that.
Yeah,
because they tried.
Would you not be like, you could offer more money? I don't know, how would you be? You could be like, you could have given more money if they said they've offered.
I don't think it's money with Gnabry because Bayern offered him about 300k a week.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah,
so I don't think it's money. I think it's his next step or he wants a new challenge.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Philip McGee says, would you take Rashford now? There's going to be a show, the top 6 Premier League draft coming soon to you guys. We did a draft video for the teams outside the top 6. I'll be fighting the case of Rashford. Just there's a little sneak preview there, but I know I'm gonna have to really fight. We're gonna go down to some more super chats. There's been loads. Abdullah retracted his one, but thank you for the super chat. I wonder what that said. Who else we got? Shref says Arsenal will have to pay 50 for a £35 million player as we screwed up top 4. There is Liverpool, Man City, United, Newcastle, Spurs, both showing money and ambition. WB us. What about us? I'm assuming that's what that means. We need Guendouzi.
That's done now. He's gone. That was already triggered once he played, I think, a certain number of games in Marseille's season. I think it got triggered around March. So, you know, I've heard people insinuating that it might not be done, but I'm pretty sure it's done.
Okay. Abdullah, again, he came back with a super chat, so I believe this is one he wanted to be read out. It says, if we sign Tielemans, Gabriel, a hybrid left-back centre-mid like Zinchenko, and a sub right-back like Spence, loan out Lokonga and Tavares, would that be good summer, or do we need a marquee signing like Gnabry? You could add Gnabry to that though. That's
good.
Not
Gnabry makes it great.
Makes it. I'll be very
last
happy.
Summer was good. You know, let's remember what the word good really means. Good. I think that is a good window, but at the end of the day, we all went into this window knowing we need 2 strikers. We're going to get 1. We really need 2 midfielders. One, you know, an upgrade on Xhaka, and one that can maybe fill in for Partey, maybe can play that 8-2, maybe a Bissouma. You know, we need 2 midfielders, 2 strikers, but it's not going to happen.
I think Tielemans and Zinchenko works, in my opinion. I think a cover right back works for me. I don't know about the loan out Lokonga and Tavares personally. I know people may be in the comments like, what you on about, but I would like to see them stay at Arsenal. There's a lot of games next season. There's a lot of cup games where they can get a lot of experience. Obviously, there's a World Cup in between this season where, you know, players can go out and get injured and come back to, you know, the kind of a difficult run of the games after that. So I would like to see those players stay. I still think there's use in those players. I think Brooke Norton-Cuffy will be coming back as well in right back actually. So do we need a cover there? Right back, left back? Am I going crazy?
Right back.
He's right back, yeah. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, so I don't know actually that right back shout. I think if you bring up Brooke, obviously he was on loan at Lincoln City, he had a really good loan spell. I think he could come into the fold as well. So I think we'll get 4 signings. I keep saying this. I think we'll get 4 signings. It was first was speaking about we need 10, then it went down to around 6 is realistic. I now think 4.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves either. In my opinion, it's Hickey or Zinchenko.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's Hickey or Zinchenko.
Yeah, of course.
We're not going to get both. It just wouldn't make sense. Even if you send Tavares on loan, it just wouldn't make sense.
And with Tierney still here and not looking like he's going to be moved on, it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, Tierney shouldn't be moved on, but he needs adequate competition. And I think Zinchenko provides that more than Hickey, because I don't know much about Hickey and his age and so on. Whereas Zinchenko's won leagues, he's played for Pep Guardiola, he's played with Mikel as well. So I think if I had the choice, it'd be Zinchenko, because then if you do get an injury in the middle, he can slot in because he plays for Ukraine in the middle.
Hickey is a good talent. He's 19 years old. I mean, he seems very composed, very both-footed. I've watched a lot of him actually. I've watched a bit of him in research, so he seems like a good player. But I think Zinchenko is a better option.
Are we building an under-21 side, or are we building a Premier League side? That's all I'm asking. Yeah.
Project Youth Turkish.
Yeah,
man.
I get that, but come on, man. Like Project Youth. Like, this ain't a nursery or a primary school, man. This is a football club. You know?
I hear you. You need experience in there as well. Dave Jordan with the super chat says, Guendouzi will win the Ballon d'Or, and Arteta is evil for not playing him. Arteta can't handle world-class players like Guendouzi, only crap players like Saka.
That's the big step for Arteta now, to show he can, or to prove people like that, right, that he can't.
Only crap players like Saka. Dave can only handle crap players like Saka. I don't know. I mean, Saka's right now going to. Yeah, Dave Jordan. That's your guy.
Oh, my guy, Dave.
That's your guy. That's your guy.
Imagine that guy has the cheek to say to me about, you know, negativity and all of this stuff, and then the guy went and called Saka crap. I just don't understand it. Saka's our most valuable player at the club.
Amen.
He's actually our most valuable player at the club, and remember the word valuable here. Yeah, he is the most valuable player. So to call him crap is just madness. Which
we're going to get into in the next spell of this show. Constantinos says Tielemans, Calvert, Jesus, Zinchenko, and if we can afford if we can afford a Bissouma last, this would be a team with great squad depth and also quality.
100%. Well, listen, out of the names we've been linked to, and I'm just talking about these names, I would like Zinchenko, Tielemans, and Bissouma. Reason being, if Tierney gets injured, Zinchenko can slot in, or he can rotate with him anyway. He can also play in the middle if we get an injury in the middle. But then you've got Tielemans and Bissouma there as well. So then you end up with a midfield of Partey, Bissouma, Tielemans, Zinchenko. Even you could keep Xhaka as fourth choice there then, you know.
Yeah. Let me just apologize. Virgil, apologies. What was I? Is Dutch. I know you were clocked on that. I see that in the comments.
Not even.
And I've seen it in the comments. I said obviously he's from Bern. So let me, apologies. My brain went blank there. Obviously, we spoke about Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, that was a big stinker from Cess.
He didn't pass geography, people. Just, you know, a heads up there. He didn't pass geography. So.
But yeah, there's that one. We're gonna go through. But out of those names, I still want Gnabry in there. I'm telling you, I really want him. I know.
I want Zidane. But you know, wants and reality is so different.
It's not going to happen. But Henry Fowler says, to show they are a big club, Arsenal need to start a certain dominance pressure in the window. You want a player for the summer start, sowing seeds in Jan or earlier. Ex-Bayern getting their CM and RB. Example, I'm sorry, Bayern and getting their centre mid and right back. I think we are always really slow to do business. That's the one frustrating thing there. I just spoke about Gnabry, how much I want him. It seems like we can get him. From what we see, the price that Bayern want, and the fact that he said he wants to come back to Arsenal. He likes Arsenal. He always has a place it's always a place in his heart. Why have we not got it done? I don't know. I don't know what's really stopping it. And like, we haven't heard of any
The window opens,
bids.
when is it, Friday?
Yep.
And that's what a lot of people are going to say. The window's not open yet. The window's not open yet. It's not. You're right. So let's wait for it to open.
It'll be that, or it'll be, we haven't got top four. So
let's not forget, Edu came out and said we've got a plan for top four.
Correct.
We've got a plan for not making top four. So the plan should be there. Yeah. We didn't panic in January. So let's get the right type of players in the summer, proactively.
JR with the super chat says Saka has 2 years left. Might not re-sign. Would you take Saka swap for Jesus and Zinchenko and use the budget to buy Gnabry, Scamacca, Tielemans, Bissouma, and end with 6 players and lose 1 key player? I don't want to see Saka. I don't want to see Saka leave, in my personal opinion. I'm not really into no swap deals. I never really see swap deals happen in transfer windows. There's always talk of it from media publications, but it's rare that I ever see them. And if I'm honest, I don't want to see Saka go. We just spoke about it. He's our most valuable player. We're going to get into...
Someone from Manchester Evening News as well, just before we went live, he did say that Manchester City are not... Wait, here it is. This was on One Football, but it comes from Simon Bukowski of the Manchester Evening News. He says the club have distanced themselves from reports linking them to Saka, with the player not in their plans this window or windows to follow. That's obviously coming from one of these journalists. I don't know how credible he is. I don't know how credible any of them are. But this ain't the summer Saka's going to leave, but this is the summer that's going to indicate to us, is this club really changing its ways? Because it's not only Saka. Saka, Saliba and Martinelli are all on 2 years left. Saka, Saliba and Martinelli. We've just given Eddie and Nketiah 100k. Yeah? So how much are those 3 players going to want now? That's where I'm worried about Arsenal. Again, that's where I'm worried. It's not necessarily, I'm totally against Eddie Nketiah. I think he's not good enough and I think we deserve better. It's not his fault he got offered a 100k 5-year contract. But I'm looking at the club and wondering how they're going to maneuver around this, puzzle that they've found themselves in. Because if you're giving 100 to Eddie, then Saka can turn around and say 200. Martinelli can turn around and say 150. Saliba, after being Young Player of the Year, France squad, started for France, was it last night or the night before? He can potentially say 150. I'm not saying they're worth that, but, we've set the precedent with that contract for Eddie. So I'm worried about how the club are going to renew these contracts. I don't think Saliba's will be renewed this summer. I'm hoping Saka and Martinelli, one, if not both, renew. But if we go into next season with Saka and Martinelli going into their last 2 years, I'm worried.
Do you think they will? Do you think the club will get them re-signed? I feel the way the recent history of this club, I don't know if they're gonna really. They should be pushing for it really now. We should be hearing things like they're looking to get these players on new deals. But especially with the Eddie, that Eddie 100k. And listen, that's no disrespect to Eddie. I do like him as a player, but yeah, I understand if I was a young player like Saka and Mane, I understand. I'll be like, well, if he's on that, I definitely deserve this. If man's only come in from mid-April and you're signing him on a 5-year deal on 100k a week when I've been here pretty much holding up the club for the whole season in regards, if I'm speaking from Saka's point of view. So I'm going to want a lot more than that. Whether Saka's that sort of player that will demand things like that, I don't know, but does he deserve more? Of course he does. Of course he does. So I understand your worry there, Turkish. And I'm going to go into more...
And before you go on, I just want to elaborate on that because like David Silva towards the end of his Manchester City career, when he was touching 30, 200k a week he was on. Wow. Salah, recently, 200k a week. Mm-hmm. You know, so already if we're breaking these barriers at such a young age for these players, then the future doesn't necessarily bode as well as people may think.
Right.
Because we could find ourselves in another wage structure problem. We could find ourselves with our hands tied behind our backs again, being told we can only loan players. We need to be smarter with the way we do things. That's what I'm worried about. The club might actually, you know, be doing the right thing and come next season, we're actually excited for once. But some of the things I've been seeing, hearing, reading, I am worried. Because it is a big summer.
Yeah, it was a Gabriel Jesus, I think it was rumoured of like 180k a week as well. That's the fee that there's rumoured that Arsenal will be happy to pay if he does come in. I mean, that's a lot of money a week. And we're speaking about Eddie Nketiah and Jesus here, and I do want to move on to this conversation just briefly and get everyone in the comments, people listening and watching's opinions, in the sense that, you know, Eddie Nketiah, he went out in the podcast, the Beautiful Game podcast, said he wants to have a run of games, be the main kind of number 9 for Arsenal. Got that, granted that. He got that towards the end of the season. But now Gabriel Jesus, it's looking like we are favourites. I know Tottenham are sniffing around. I heard Atletico Madrid is sniffing around. Real Madrid also sniffing around. I hear all these, but I hear that Arsenal still seem to be front runners. But that's only on the strength of that he's going to be the main guy at Arsenal as the striker. Gabriel Jesus, he wants to be that main number 9. So what does that bode really for Eddie Nketiah? Like if he's going to want it, is going to be another situation where he's going to be like, well, I've signed on an extension on I'm looking to sign on an extension on my deal, but this is not what I was promised. I was told, you know, I'm going to have more game time.
I think he's been promised some things. I'd say second striker is one promise, maybe Europa League, FA Cup's another promise. Because it is weird that one day he's saying he wants to start many games and then it seems like he signed a contract to be second fiddle.
Yeah.
But obviously second fiddle's better than third fiddle, which is what he's
been majority of his.
So it's an upgrade on that. So yeah, it's a shame we're not buying 2 strikers. Balogun will be our 3rd striker this season. And
do you believe?
It will be. It'll be Jesus, Eddie and Balogun.
They won't send them back out on loan.
If they do, then we've got 2 strikers again, and we're fucked again.
But they might bring in a wide player that can play across the 3, like a versatile wide player, like a winger type. And it could be. Do you know what I mean? Or do you think no, it's going to be just striker?
I've always, not always, but since Eddie signed, I said it only makes sense to me that Eddie signed if we bought a Gnabry, who's going to give you 20 goals off the wings or 20 goals from the 3 behind the striker position. You know, that's the only way it would make sense to me. If we don't, then we're looking at the strikers again for the goals. I
partly disagree. I do believe I don't think we'll get another striker, but I think we'll get 2 more attacking players, whether that's 1 striker, 1 wide player. I think that's what it would be, 1 striker, 1 wide player, personally. Only because with Saliba coming back, I think the defence is kind of assured. Brooke Norton-Cuffy as well returning. I think he's assured there. I know people are talking about left-back cover, but I think if we get, like I said, Zinchenko and Tielemans, I think that covers that as well. The midfield, I think, is covered over there from both those signings. And I think what you need to look at is going forward, mainly. Arteta's always, every season, been like, I'm working on the defence, we build from the back, There's been so many years of that, and if I'm honest, it hasn't been seasons that we've really loved from that thought process. So I think he needs to look more going forward.
Of course he does, man.
We need more goals.
That's why 2 players is not enough. Look at the attacking problems we've had for the last 2 years. It's not just last season; it's 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been since he's kind of been here.
It needs more than just 2 players. You know, obviously the midfield is linked to that, and the transition and the Tielemans and Zinchenkos of this world. Cool, I get that. But in terms of the forward line, that needs some reinforcement.
It definitely does.
And 2 players, not enough for me.
Okay, Young Gunner with the super chat says 4 signings would be quality. That's what I believe we'll get. Jesus, Richarlison, Tielemans, and Gnabry, and Zinchenko. I mean, that's 5, but aren't out of our reach, but would be expensive. If the club are ambitious, would be making offers before anybody else. And I 100% agree with that. Listen, we need to start making...
You know, you want to be proactive. That's the word I use every window with this club. Are you going to be proactive? And every window, they're not. The one window they actually looked like they was going to be proactive is the window we signed Czech. Yeah, it was so early on, 10 million, got it over the line, and then we didn't do anything else. I can't even look back and say that was proactive. That was as nonsense as the rest of the windows have been over the years.
Dave Jordan back with a super chat says, Pepe, Ozil, Benguzi and Torreira are world class and will win us the league. Arteta only wants players with good attitudes. What an idiot.
Pepe, Ozil, Guendouzi and what?
Torreira.
Would win us the league.
Yeah. Arteta only wants good. What an idiot. Okay, well,
I suggest you stop sending in messages, Dave, because you're not doing your reputation any good out there, my guy. Maybe take the day off and come back tomorrow, because I don't know if you woke up on the wrong side of bed, but those last 2 super chats, my guy, nonsense.
I want to read some comments.
And I like Guendouzi, you know. It's not like I like a few of those players, but come on, man.
We're far from winning the league.
Pepe, Ozil, Guendouzi, and Torreira would win the league.
Far from.
Pep's laughing somewhere in the UK right now.
Way open with a comment says Saka is 100% signing a new contract. People getting played by clickbait and agents.
Potentially.
Yeah. Ronald Ronson says, big up AFTV, we have to lock down Saka on a long-term contract. A lot of people and everyone I speak with is very much in that sort of mind frame that, you know, Saka needs to be here. He needs to be here long term. That should be priority as well, really. He was our best player last season. So he should be priority. Nigel says, Zinchenko and Jesus are Premier League winners. Adding them to the squad is a huge value addition, but we need a goal scorer who can score 20 goals. Look at Tottenham trio, Harry Kane, Son and Perisic, i.e. above 60 goals. We do need a goal scorer. I think the market I mean, you've done a lot of research on the market, and they are hard to find natural talented goal scorers that don't want Champions League football, don't charge a high fee.
Just because there's no guaranteed option doesn't mean there isn't options, though. I can't say for sure whether Nunes comes in and gets 20 goals in this league. I can't say for sure whether Patrick Schick comes in and gets 20 league goals, Giovanni Simeone or Youri or whatever strikers out there. The level we're at, we can't get that striker that bangs in 20. There's only a couple of them out there that, you know, and one's going to Man City. And one just re-signed a new contract with PSG.
Yeah.
Aside from them, you know, it's all risks, but you know, you need to take risks to move forward.
Amen.
Chelsea thought they're buying a 20 goal a year striker in Lukaku last year, and look what happened. Every transfer is a risk. Every transfer is a risk. Whether you're spending 90 on Pogba, 100 on Lukaku, or whether you're spending 70 on Pepe or 40 on every transfer is a risk. Every single one. And the clubs need to be taking more risk.
Amen. Pretim says, Turkish is no cap. This is why I like him. Sid Van Borat says, although incomings are a big priority, outgoings also is important because in the past we haven't had the fees for players we should have had. Now, we've spent a lot of windows sorting out outgoings here at Arsenal. Many windows. I think that was Arteta's kind of main objective when he came in. He wanted to do a clear out, and I think we're kind of there. There is still players that need to come off the wage books and the wage bill and the books of Arsenal. But for now,
I done it
for
the
now
other
it's
day,
more about incomings.
because I want us to do a video soon, me, you, Rob and James, where, you know, we're given 150 million to spend, the squad list and what we would do this summer. In terms of players out, I've got 75 million worth of players going at this club in the summer. So if we have 150 million to spend, or roughly around that, and you add 75 on top, we've got enough money to be sorting out, you know, our business. But I look at one here for Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you know, I've put him to go out this summer, 10 million hopefully around that mark. But the reality is, why haven't we done it the last 2 years? I can't say for sure this club will go and do that. We'll go and get value for these players.
Yeah, it's many players. There's many players that would link to other teams and for good values. But now we've held on to them.
Betis is trying to get us to cancel contracts with Bellerin, because that's not Betis's fault. That's our fault for the way we've been running as a club all these years.
And we've done it before. We've cancelled with mutual consent.
Didn't we pay Barca a few million and give them
for Oba?
So you know, when clubs are trying this with us, it's because of our reputation.
Correct.
We've got to fix that reputation by acting in the right manner.
Just so you know, they did that on the Invincible podcast. Robbie and Lee, they had 150 million. They went through who they could get with that. So
Robbie and Lee don't know nothing.
Clip that. Walker Sim says, Turkish wants out. Hashtag United fan chatting rubbish. But thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Denzel Robert says, hey Cecil and Turkish, didn't Arsenal FC sign a new left back in Austin Trusty?
The guy that's getting sent straight out on loan to a European club. That's what we was told in January. So
yeah, Raul says strikers are always expensive, but it's the most important upgrade for us. 100%, they always will be. But it's some goals win games. Dave Jordan again. Pepe would score 100 a season for a different coach. Right. That is the end of the super chats. Listen, big up everyone listening and watching. Big up everyone sending in super chats. I thought that was a long segment on Tielemans and kind of the talk around the conversation, strikers and whatnot. But I know Turkish wants to move on to the top 10 most valuable players, which he read a publication and it was kind of deemed off this, and be interesting to hear what he has to say and you guys' thoughts as well.
Before we go into that, we mentioned Bissouma a lot in the last 40 minutes, but Bissouma, he reposted a story on his Instagram yesterday someone saying, come to Arsenal, make sure you get. So it's interesting that he's done that. I don't know if he knew what he was doing, or whether he was just reposting a fan's tag of his, or if he actually read it and reposted. So it's interesting. But yeah, CIES, Football Observatory, they valued the top 20 most valuable players in world football. The top 10, Mbappe number 1, 176 million. Vinicius number 2, 158 million. Haaland number 3, obviously new Manchester City player, 130 million. Pedri at Barcelona, 115 million. Jude Bellingham is the highest Englishman, 114 million. Foden, 106 million.
Jeez.
De Jong, 96 million. Diaz at Liverpool, 94 million. Ruben Diaz at Manchester City, 93.6 million. And rounding off the top 10, Ferran Torres, 93.5 million. You're probably asking, why are you telling us this? It's got no Arsenal players. The Arsenal players are lower down in the list. Saka is in the top 15. Hence my response to Dave earlier about Saka being crap, being nonsense. Saka is said to be worth 85.2 million in today's market.
I was close. Yesterday, me and James spoke. 80 million, I said. He said if anyone comes in for Saka, we should be putting outlandish fees for him because of how good he is, like 150 million. But I said realistically, he's probably around 80 million. But
and don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this, for the club to be, tempted by selling. I'm saying this because it's interesting that finally we have players of some value again. When Wenger left the club that summer, if you looked at the state of the club and said, what players have value here, real value, we was in the gutter. So it's nice to see players with value. Saka being the top 85 mil.
Would you take 85 million if someone came in for Saka?
I'm not entertaining selling our best, our best youngsters, best players. I'm not entertaining that. If you want to win stuff, you need to be keeping them. You need to show it's not just keeping them for your benefit, but showing other clubs that you mean business. Tottenham rejecting the Harry Kane offer last year of 100 mil. That's interesting because it shows ambition. It shows that, we're not going to be bullied because you're Manchester City, you've got all the money and you win leagues. We want him because we're trying to do something over here as well.
Yeah.
So, it shows a lot of ambition.
That was the answer I did want to hear. And I did celebrate because obviously I was close to that figure. But I want to hear you guys in the comments. 85 million. If a club came in outside of the Premier League for him, would you accept that fee if you was in charge for Saka? And we'll move on and carry on.
Yeah, the next 3 Arsenal players. So Saka's on 85.2 million. Emil Smith-Rowe is rated second in terms of value, 53.1 million. Wow. Obviously, the goals off the bench being a big part of that. Odegaard is in third, 49.3 million. And Ramsdale fourth, 43.7 million. So yeah, a few players are valued there.
Ramsdale's 43.
Apparently so.
Okay, so where were we? Someone was linked to him originally, and I remember doing the videos and getting grilled when he was supposed to come to Arsenal. To be fair, they were. First, I saw 40 million that the club wanted. Then obviously I was like, that is outrageous. Then it went down to around 30 million. Obviously we got him for just, I think it was 26, 25, 26. 24, 24. Okay. So yeah, plus add-ons. So I believe I think it ended around 26. But yeah, okay, 30 million. So it's gone up in about.
Let's not forget, 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? 2020, Guendouzi was, I think he was top 10 in this list, or he was around top 15, and he was valued at quite a bit. But then the way it turned out, Arsenal, the next year, he wasn't valued at much at all. So, this is just a current measuring stick for value. It can all change next season. it can be very different in 2 seasons. But it's good to see that, you know, there's some players there that actually, you know, hold some value.
Very interesting. You know me now, my head's just going a million miles now. I'm thinking about other players. So obviously Partey we signed with 45. We saw Pepe at 72. I know there's different times. We saw Roma offer Xhaka 13 million, and it's interesting seeing these numbers for these players. And granted, they are probably the most. I mean, I wonder what Martinelli would be, but granted, they are probably the top players in the Arsenal side right now. We also actually Tomiyasu maybe next season because of his injury as well. It'll be interesting to see where he's valued at, but. Those are good numbers. Sorry, I'm looking down at the paper there that Turkish has there. Those are good numbers. The top 10, Torres is interesting, 93.5 million. But wow, top 5, Saka 85.2 million. I mean, definitely worth it. Now, I did ask you guys, would you take 85 million for Saka if a team outside the Premier League? Because I think that's a big factor when it comes to players signing. You don't want him still to stay in the league. If they came in for him, would you take that offer? Zork says absolutely not. The Chocolate Teas Pot says no chance. And then Shref with a super chat says, Arsenal sign late, sell cheap, miss out on top 4 with no repercussions. Fans still pay up. We haven't built a squad since RVP days. Arsenal is a holiday for players, kids to start careers, and no love for fans. Now, I actually believe that's slowly changing, that last sentence that you mentioned there. But I think from the RVP days, and I know Turkish will agree, I think, yes, from then it kind of has felt like it has been like that. But I think it is slowly changing. Under Mikel Arteta, I think he is trying to really get that ethos out of like, okay, it is Project Youth, and I know they are starting young, but there's a cultural change, I think, within the club of what it takes to play for Arsenal. I think he's really trying to instill that in the players. Whether you think he's the right man to do that is down to the fan themselves. But yeah, I really do believe that's changing. But that was a that is a good super chat mentioned there. Now, obviously, Kieran, a regular as well in the chat, says 100 million or get the F out of here. 100 million, okay. People say no, never, not entertaining, no offers, no. Ant Eater 23 says yes. Okay, says 120 million definitely sell. Okay, so people are kind of moving toward the 100 million mark. They would sell Saka. Interesting. I just
thought. The problem is the contract probably brings it down because he's got 2 years left. It's 85. If he had 4 years left, it'd probably be touching 100, over 100.
Yeah.
The fact there's 2 years left.
That's what brings it down.
If he signs a new contract now for 5 years, that 85 probably jumps to 100 and something.
Does Saka have more of a ceiling to go, Turkish, for you? Because the reason why I asked you that is because when I had the conversation with James, was discussing earlier, I was like, Saka under Pep, I think goes up some more levels. I don't want him to leave. Let's just put this in here. Saka's my favourite player, but I see his ceiling go higher under Pep. However, the reason why I might be so clouded with Saka not getting a higher ceiling here at Arsenal is because he's so overused this season. I think if he had other players where he could swap in and out and all the pressure wasn't on him so much in this Arsenal side, we may see more of Saka and a better quality Saka. In Man City, you get that time to have less pressure, have more time to focus on certain aspects of your game. Here at Arsenal, we're expecting so much from it week in, week out.
But you know what? At the same time, it can work the opposite way. You know, sometimes pressure makes diamonds. That's the thing, innit?
Come in with the boss.
Yeah, man's got a few up my sleeve, people.
I do like that one. I can't lie.
Up my sleeve.
You might see a couple of my statuses say that because I live by that.
I'll give you an example. Though. Look, Sanchez at Barcelona, yeah. He was a team player. He was a guy that, third fiddle, second fiddle. He wasn't the main guy. He leaves and goes to Arsenal, become the main guy, the pressure's on him, and he becomes a diamond. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that.
If he didn't have that responsibility, that role, then would we ever have known that this is him?
True.
So at the same time, Saka's got responsibility, heavy pressure, but you're right, Pep, Klopp, these type of managers are amazing at what they do. Not necessarily individual players, but it could be systems as well that get the best out of the players. So pros and cons.
There is. And listen, guys, we are slowly coming towards the end of this show. Now, we haven't overrun because there's no time limit to it, but I didn't expect this show to be as long. But I'm going to guys, thank you so much again. You know my thing. Like, big up everyone in the chat and getting in your thoughts and comments. This is what it's all about, these AFTV lives, hearing from you guys, getting your thoughts and discussing them. So thank you for everyone getting involved in the chat today and sending in super chats. There's still a few more to go. Dave Jordan again with a super chat. Turkish favourite. I know Saka is is out of Player of the Year, and Pepe has been crap for 3 seasons, but it's Arteta's fault. His system means Pepe can't control a ball or make a good pass. I'm not even going to, can't even bother to entertain and just talking that. Husker says, is AFTV coming to the USA? I love you guys. Oh, we are. We are. We will see you out there. Husker, big up. We should be out there for the pre-season
First time in America
tour.
for me as well, so...
Mad. It's gonna be a good one.
Where does Kroenke live?
Sam with the last super chat says, yes, Saka's ceiling is higher, but he may never reach his highest potential if he has no competition within the team. He needs to be pushed to get there.
That as well. There's so many different facets to a player becoming a great or world class. So, you know, it's hard to define it, but there's not one route to being world class.
Correct. Did we have that conversation if we had Gnabry, it would push Saka, or it could... It could.
Saka can learn off of Gnabry.
Right.
You can learn off of someone like that.
Well, that'll be another we have had that conversation already, but it could be another conversation for another live. But that is us coming to the end of this AFTV live. Now, I need to remind you guys to make sure you get some of the merch. I'm wearing the Tomiyasu jumper here. Head over to shop.aftv.co.uk to get the merch. Make sure you check out Transfer Daily every morning with, you know who it is, the Don Robbie, giving you all the transfer news and latest on what's going on around Arsenal and the links. So make sure you're up and watching that. And we'll see you again tomorrow on AFTV Live, so make sure you look out for that as well. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day, people.
Love.